Hey everybody, welcome to Friday PM. It's Luigi Scarcelli here. It's another Friday. We're really excited to have our first guest, friend of the show. He's been on our show as well as a lot of the First Friday things that play actually on Saturday Night Special. Jason Lambert, musician, teacher by day. You're kind of like the superhero guy, right?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
He's got the day thing and then the night thing. Now, jumping right into question, do you play out as much anymore, or you kind of used to do open mics sometimes?
Yeah. When I used to I had some gigs. I'm just really bad at getting them because you have to really put yourself out there, and you have to just keep bugging people, and that's just not my personality.
Yeah.
So, and I also do, like, the stuff I do acoustically is mellow.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm not going to book a gig at Saturday night at the big venue, because the stuff that I do is more like, it's like Sunday afternoon kind of thing,
Yeah.
But I got to get back out and start. I mean, I think I've sent one message to try to get a gig, just because that's how it works. You know what I mean? So
it's kind of funny about like the Portland scene, because there's probably a ton of artists, there's less places, so it's almost like incumbent on the artists to kind of get themselves out there.
You really have to be out there, and just, you have to go in, and then you have to get the email, and then you email, and then you just have to be on it, and I am always like, one thing about me with just who I am is I don't like bugging people.
Yes, right. You're low key.
Yes,
yeah,
and
you
so
wanna,
you kind of, in order to get gigs, especially around here, you really have to keep pushing until they give you a gig.
Hustling and getting all
that's
of
not
that
my
kind of thing.
That's not my strength. So
right. So you did grow up here in Portland your whole life, yeah. So you were telling me before you went to Deering.
I did.
Okay. Now, was that the case when you were in that kind of age, that you could kind of pick where you wanted to go if you lived in Portland? I always heard that as like the...
Yes and no. It was back then. It was more, if you lived, out, towards the Deering area, Deering Center area, you would go there.
You would go.
And people in North Deering, they generally had a choice.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I mean, which was fine, because Deering was fine.
Yeah, because I mean, it was like, I guess back in those days, because you and I are about the same age, so you're talking about like in the 80s or kinds of things, you would, unless you had a parent that would drive you into town, you'd have to get a bus.
My dad worked at Deering too, so
he worked at Deering.
So it was, it worked out. It was one of those things where I think back then, Deering was well regarded. As a school, and
more like a campus. Bigger,
but there were people. I grew up with people that definitely wanted to go to Portland and chose that. Some right North Deering people. So, but in Portland back then, their sports were better. So the people that were athletes wanted to be on the more successful sports teams.
Okay.
And
that was the Portland was better?
Yeah. Back then.
Would have never known.
I've lost track of all that stuff. So I have no clue anymore.
So, but your dad, for the folks out there, as I mentioned before, you're a teacher.
Yeah.
In Gorham, correct?
In Gorham, that's correct.
And so was your dad a teacher at Deering? Was that
my dad taught at Deering for many years? Yeah.
And you teach English?
I teach English, but he taught history.
He taught history.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you grow up having a love for history?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
History's an interesting subject.
Yeah, and I enjoy teaching it. I read a lot about history, and so it's something that I really do enjoy. And I think having my father who was he had like the old big, it was called Rise of the Nation textbooks.
Yeah. Okay.
And when I was a kid, I used to just go, oh wow, okay, yeah, James Monroe, oh yeah,
right.
So I got into that at a pretty early age.
Okay, and so how did you then decide to become an English teacher?
Well, it was essentially what happened was I got hired. I was exclusively had an endorsement just in social studies, and then I learned pretty quickly that having only a social studies endorsement really is it really limits what the jobs you can apply for. And a lot of times when you apply for social studies positions, people they're looking for coaches, and sometimes they'll choose people that teach social studies to coach. So it was or you get people that they worked in Africa or something, or in the inner city, and those are the people you're competing against. So when I got to Gorham, I decided to broaden my horizons. So I got a couple more endorsements to kind of make me more flexible.
Yeah, because that's the interesting thing too. Because I always wondered that's one of those teaching positions, because if the coaches are usually, it's kind of like, okay, you're here, but because you'd see it even in like a lot of TV shows and stuff.
Yeah.
The coach also, let's give them something to teach.
Yeah.
I went to Wayne Fleet, and I think we even had kind of some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's how it works, is like, it's a way to pigeonhole like a coach into something. It's social studies.
I ended up, I mean, social studies is obviously a very important subject, but I think it was at the time, when I was looking to get jobs, is that it was always really hard, because if you're just limited to that. Now I can teach middle level English, or I have a certification to do like multilingual. So students who are learning multiple languages, I can do that too. So I like the flexibility. I like teaching English, but I could, if they said you're teaching social studies next year, I would be okay with that. It's good for your brain to do different things. It's just a lot more work to teach a different subject.
Is Gorham, as a middle school, is multicultural now? Is Portland, or
not near as much as Portland? But the population is definitely growing, and for me, that's a really positive thing, because I think that's one of the things that growing up in Portland, I really appreciate about the city of Portland is that the fact that it is so multicultural makes it so much better a city. And I've seen that, so but yeah, Gorham's not where Portland. I don't know if Gorham will ever get to where Portland is, but it's definitely, becoming more of a thing. So
getting outside of Portland, I mean, Maine, becomes more like it had been before, where it's less, world kind of people from around and stuff.
And you learn so much from
Portland is great. We were just reminiscing about that, how big city it feels right here on Congress Street, with all kinds of people walking around. And you get outside of Portland and Maine, and it's back to being pretty quiet most of the time. Now, do you live in Portland, or you live in Gorham?
Oh yeah, I live in Portland.
So you commute out every day. Okay. Well, so I knew we were talking before about, so at some point you formed a love of music.
Oh yeah.
And was that at an early age, or when did you pick up the guitar, or was the guitar the first instrument?
I really liked music. In high school, it was the late '80s pop music. Then I got to college. I became more serious about my. That was the time of Nirvana and that alternative revolution, as they called it back then. But all those bands that came out of that, and I had a radio show up there. I was just really, I would say college is when I really got engaged with music. And then, when I got out of college, I always wanted to play a guitar. I had a guitar. I'd asked for one for Christmas, never really picked it up. So it's either now or never, And I was like, I always dreamed of writing songs. And so right after I got out of college is when I picked up the guitar and really purposefully said, okay, I'm going to do this.
Okay.
So.
And then where did you go to college again?
Orono, University of Maine. Yeah.
And so then did you come back to the Portland area and kind of?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I did had an idea I was going to stay up there, but what happens when you finish college is, when you're done, everybody else leaves too.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're
all
up
your
there
friends,
in the summer, it's like nobody's there. And then I decided, Portland at that time in the mid '90s was really just starting to become what it is now. I mean, they had new breweries, and you know what I mean, and it was the old port, and there was a really good vibe to Portland. So
I mean, even by the '90s, you could go to was it Geno's would have been somewhere.
Yeah.
Then they had all the places down the old port that were still like Gritty McDuff's kind of things, right?
That was the place for a number of years, So, but that was. When I was like late '90s is when I started really writing songs, and getting out and playing and stuff like that. So
on the first Friday that we had you play on last summer, you did play some fun '90s covers.
Yeah.
But you'll do those. You'll throw a few of those in every once in a while. But most of the time,
when I'm playing out, definitely I try to, because people like to hear songs they know. So.
Yeah. Right, and doing it in your own way too. Yeah,
Purple Rain,
different style. Right, exactly. So, but you how many different CDs before the new one? We're going to talk about that right here soon. Suns so far, and then Pastels.
Yeah.
But how many different times have you done recordings before?
Oh boy, I did it years ago in the early 2000s, early aughts, I guess. I had a band, and we were called the Populists, and we played out actually, and and it was pretty good. But putting out I put out a CD, and you know, it look back on that, and it was the first time I'd ever done anything like that. And so then I put out a couple, you know, years later, a couple singer-songwriter CDs, and one was just called Son Lambert, because I decided that Jason Lambert is actually quite a common name.
Yeah.
You know, and when I,
Right.
you know, Googled it, like, you know, Jason Lambert, you know, there was this guy in Portland, Oregon,
Yeah.
who did acoustic music at like
Right.
coffee shops named
Yep.
Jason Lambert. And I was like, okay, well, you know, but somebody did tell me, they said, you know, everybody, didn't you know everybody has a doppelganger in Portland,
Yeah,
Oregon?
exactly.
You know?
Right. There's well, and I could tell you two funny stories about that. One of it, which is I had a guy on my earliest shows, and he changed his name, but his real name, and he's a singer-songwriter acoustic guy, and he's traveling around, was John Mayer.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
then
yeah,
he would
yeah,
be
yeah.
playing out, and everybody was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Oh my God, John Mayer is going to be playing at this local place," and they would go, and it's not the same John Mayer.
Yeah.
And so he had
A
to
little bit
change his
disappointing.
name so that. But he's like showed everybody. He's like, "Look, my real name is John Mayer," but he had changed it to John such and such because it was like, yeah, you'd get people and they would go. And Jason Lambert's a common name.
Yeah.
Talking about the Portland, Maine, Portland, Oregon, my dad was a professor at University of Maine, Farmington.
Yeah.
The first African foreign exchange student, my dad and some other people, a teacher sponsored him to come to Maine.
Yeah.
And they got a call. It's like in the late 70s. And there's a woman, and it's in Portland, Oregon. And they go, "We've got this guy, and he's stuck here." And they flew him to Portland, Oregon
by
instead.
mistake?
By mistake, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
he was stranded and freaked out.
Yeah.
And didn't know what
that's
was
quite
going
a difference,
on,
yeah,
right.
between Portland and
Yeah,
Maine.
exactly. So
Yeah,
that
it's
was
3,000 miles away.
Exactly.
But so then I did a couple acoustic stuff with singer-songwriter stuff. One was called just Son Lambert, and that got a nice write-up in the Press Herald, and I recorded it here in Portland. And then I did one under that name again called Super Stereo Sale, which, again, I look back on that and it was like the songs were all too long. Like you could have, that's how I look at that. I'm working on something kind of like a singer-songwriter type stuff now. But then I started doing these synthy type stuff. And so this is the fourth one of these.
This is the fourth one.
Yeah. And the best, I might add. Yeah.
Well, so do you want the folks out there to hear one of your live performances or the music video first? Because we can do them both.
Well, you could. We were just talking about the live performances. So why don't we
play those? And then we can also talk about the video after, because that's an interesting story too. So let's play a couple songs from Jason's new album that you're performing live.
We're working
here.
Working on
it.
Not out yet, but
not out yet. So the new ones that aren't out yet. What are the songs you're going to play for us?
I'm going to play a song called Country Songs.
Yep.
A song called Mashagon.
Yep.
A song called Memphis In Between, and a new song that I don't know exactly whether it will be on the thing called Letters Never Sent.
Letters Never Sent. All right, let's watch all four of those songs. We'll come back with Jason, then we'll talk about what's upcoming.
Sure.
The music video as well.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, we'll be right back right after this. Thanks.
All right, so this song is going to be on an upcoming project, and this is called Country Songs, and I wrote this years ago, and it's one of those songs that sometimes songs just come to you, like in 5 minutes, and this is one of those songs, and sometimes songs take 5 months, but this one just came to me. So this is Country Songs. Causing me to remember you. There's lonely towns in Arizona, there's lonely in Tulsa too. Clouds move in the sky above without even a thought of love. The sun is shining on this day. Tell you what I'm thinking of. Yesterday, always find what she thought was true. I tried to follow, I tried to fly, ended up with a Ferris wheel blue. Round and round, all upside down, nothing left to do. Think about yesterday, always someday. Anyway, somewhere on the river singing country songs on its shore, memory lives on. Could have been, would she be, was with fire burning deep inside of me. I said, somewhere runs a river singing country songs on its shore, memory lives on. Could have been, would she be, was with fire deep inside of me. This is a song, it's about Portland, and I used to ride my bike down to the East End beach area, and I'd play on the rocks there. Not very comfortable, but I play on the rocks there. And so this is a song kind of I wrote about Portland, and the name of the song is Mashagon, which is the name that the Native Americans called it before the British called it Portland. So anyways, this is called Mashagon. Train whistle sounds in my own hometown. Wish you were around. Paint this scene for me. Pressing this clouds above islands now. Wonder how I could be sailing on the wind, cross an ocean to another reality. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is to sing a song. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is rules of space-time is such a crime. I can't seem to find here with me. Lost memories float on the sea. Want to be free, want to be sailing on the wind, cross an ocean to another reality. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is to sing a song. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is to sing a song. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is to sing a song. All that's left is Mashagon. All I got is this next one is it's kind of like partially true. I guess I have a friend that lives down in Austin, so I went down to visit him and his wife years ago, and I kind of based an idea of a song around it. So this is called Memphis In Between, because the flight went from Boston to Austin, and Memphis was in between. So I thought that would be a cool thing to call a song. miles high till I touched down at a Austin Bergstrom. Well, I took SoCo uptown. Well, Easy Sixth, I was making the rounds. Well, she's a private press princess. She got dresses and they're falling down. I went looking for sound. Boston, Austin, Memphis in between. I went from Boston, Austin, Memphis in between. Honky-tonk guitar led me wandering far. Well, Central Time, it's an hour behind where she's wearing guitar. Well, she got tremolo on her vocal. Well, I think that she might become a star. I went wandering far. Austin, Memphis in between. I went from Boston, Austin, Memphis in between. I went from Boston, Memphis in between. This is a song about finding some letters sent, and it's about going back in time. Trying to say, couldn't find another way. There was the language of sky, language, and I'd say goodbye. There on the unfolded page, taking me back to another age. Letters never sent, never regret. Letters never sent. Letters never sent, lest I forget. Letters never sent. Smile, shoulder braids, country roads are paved with radio memories, driving on Route 3 220 to Unity and on to 95 to Orono.
university. Letters never sent, never regret. Letters never sent. Letters never sent, lest I forget. Letters never sent. Letters never sent, never regret. Letters never sent. Letters never sent, never regret. Letters never sent.
Hey everybody, we're back again. Thank you for playing those songs for
welcome.
us. It's like
My
a time
pleasure.
warp, reversing
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
We did that a little bit earlier. So the
In
lighting,
studio,
like,
though.
in
Yeah,
the
it was
same
right here.
studio,
Yeah.
lighting might be a little different. But before we let you get going, we want to talk a little bit about the new projects. Working with Dave, right?
Dave Maddox,
yeah,
yeah,
some of
playing
that.
drums, yeah.
The new video. So tell us more about all of that.
So this summer, I was fortunate enough to went to Paris, France, and I have a friend there, and she's an actress. I mean, she's does some pretty cool stuff, and so I reached out to her about trying to find somebody to shoot a video, and she connected me with this guy named Antoine Zerbini.
Okay.
And the three of us spent an evening. It was a Sunday evening in late June, going around to different locations in Paris. But not like. We didn't go to the Eiffel Tower. Do you know what I'm saying? We didn't go to like the Louvre. You know, we went to kind of some more neighborhoody type things to give it kind of a real kind of authentic feel. And then we did a bunch of video down in a metro station and everything. And then the end result was a video that I took all the clips that he had taken and I put them together to create a music video.
Yeah, it was a fun story. It was beautifully shot.
He did
looked
a nice
really
job.
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's in the right kind of locations.
Yeah.
And what I liked about it was
sunset, too.
sunset. Yeah, and you didn't try to do all of it like a performance. It was a story being told, which I always forget how good those can be in their own ways. But let's watch that, and then we'll kind of wrap up with a couple more things.
Okay.
So that video is, what's it called again?
It's called So Sad.
So Sad.
By Sun So Far.
Sun So Far on this album?
Yeah, it's on that album.
So it's on this album, which you can pick this album up.
Bull Moose.
Bull Moose.
You can get it certainly it's on Spotify and all those places, but in Strange Maine, I get some copies of Strange Maine.
And can they get this digitally as well?
Oh yeah, it's on iTunes, everything. Yeah.
Okay.
And Spotify is on YouTube, Apple Music, everywhere. So.
And most of the ways they can find you is through Jason Lambert on Facebook and things.
Yeah. And there is a Sun So Far page.
Yep.
So if you're interested in following, seeing what's going on, you can certainly check that out as well.
Is it called Sun So Far?
Sun So Far. That's
.com,
it.
maybe,
or just I do have that, but I don't unfortunately have a website for it. But on Facebook, I have a specific dedicated page to Sun So Far.
To it, social media, which is probably right now just as good. So let's check that video out. It's all filmed in Paris. It's awesome. We'll come back with a little more with Jason. Thanks.
Why you wanna make me so sad? So sad, so sad. Why you wanna hurt me so bad? Yeah, you need to know it's true that you made me blue. Why you wanna make me so sad? Why you wanna hurt me so bad? Why wanna know why you tearing it all apart. Why you wanna make me so sad? Why you wanna hurt me so bad? Why you wanna make me so sad? Why you wanna hurt me so bad? Why you wanna make me so sad? Why you wanna hurt me so bad? Why you wanna make me so sad? Why you wanna hurt me so bad?
We're back again. Thanks again for sticking with us, Jason. Appreciate
Glad
it.
to do it.
So we wanted to talk about, in our closing moments, a little bit more about kind of the successes this album has had, because we spent some time talking about your background. We didn't get a chance to talk about when this came out, kind of where it's gone since then. So you could tell us a little
Sure.
about that.
So
Yeah.
late August, I got the CDs in the mail and put it out there, sent it out to some different folks, and I was fortunate to get some nice reviews in the Ballard Substack, the New Music Monday, by Chris Busby, and was very, very appreciative of his write-up. And then Ames Ponte, who does the music reviews and other things for the Press Herald, she also gave it a nice review and made some nice comments on it. So it was nice to have that. And then, to my total surprise, I didn't know at the time. Now I do, but I didn't know that there was an organization called Music Reviews. It's Maine Brews and Music Reviews, and they have a top 10 every week, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's a really cool thing that they do that. And so, one of the tracks, the lead track called "Fly Girl" from that, ended up at number 5 on the chart, which was really cool because when I was younger, I used to follow the Billboard charts.
Yeah, exactly.
I still check what's going on in the top 40. So to have a song that is a local kind of minor hit, and there's a lot of great music out there in the Portland area right now too. So to be up there with some of those folks was really very. It made me feel good, because you work hard, to get this stuff out there and to see some positive results.
Yeah, you want to make sure that it can get to the people that want to hear it, that are out there. And it is kind of funny. It's like you feel like back when we were younger, that was like CYY and those local kind of stations. They were playing a lot more like local music.
Yeah.
It felt like there was more of that connection to the local stuff.
Yeah.
It feels like now everybody's kind of corporate.
CLZ does a great
CLZ.
does a great job.
Maybe
with that.
WMPG or something like that.
Dev Atwood does the stuff for CLZ, MPG as well, and also this guy named Charlie Gaylord, who's been on the local scene for a long time. He has a SoundCloud show every week. He puts together like a mix of like an hour's worth of local music. And you would be amazed at how many great tracks are on those shows. There is a lot of good stuff coming out right now.
Yeah, I mean that's what's Portland so funny about the music scene is like I've heard some really good stuff just by having this show, and it's like, but yeah, it's like to get into that corporate side of things, that. It's like very difficult.
Yeah, you're not going to get played on WBLM. They used to have a local show.
Yeah,
Charlie used to do that.
Yep.
And, but then it was. I mean, it was actually really cool that BLM did that. But it's just one of those things that sometimes those types of things, when things become more corporate, tend to fall away. Not knock on WBLM.
Well, or some of these other stations that you feel like they might not even be a local person. It's just like played by like an AI robot locally, and they just beam them. Okay, here's what. We want you to play.
But radio's still alive. Radio still exists, and
but
Portland's
it also
lucky
probably
to have
exists over the internet now, and SoundCloud and different forms.
Yeah, there are. But like CLZ, they're still active in the local music, and you can find local music out there on the air if you know where to look for.
And
a
lot of people are more and more clamoring for everything local because everything that's big corporate, whether it's television, movies, music, it's starting to all sound the same, and it, it doesn't have that same kind of uniqueness to it.
authenticity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
authenticity of a unique voice. But so, what do you have coming up now? You have some new things.
So my friend down in Portsmouth, name is Mark McElroy. He has a studio. This guy's pretty amazing. He's got a music recording studio.
Yeah.
He has a guitar store, Gary's Guitars, down in Portsmouth. If you're ever down there and looking for a guitar, he's your guy. And he just like 2 weeks ago opened a record store, like selling vinyl records.
Right.
So Rosebud Records, Gary's Guitars, right near each other.
Yeah.
But definitely worth. If you're down there, check it out. But he's also a really great musician. So a lot of the great hooks and stuff on that recording came from Mark. And also my cousin Dylan Sullivan is an amazing bass player, and he's on that. But so I've been working on this analog tape project where you, instead of doing it on the computer, we're doing it like old style with the reel-to-reel tape. So the thing with doing that is you got to get the takes have to be on. You can't make mistakes.
Yeah, you can't,
because you can't go in and be like, let's just go in and you know. So, but that's been fun. And a few years ago, I mean, I was so busy with that project, I hadn't had a chance to work to think much about this newer project. But this guy named Dave Maddox, who was in a band called Fairport Convention, he was also for a while with XTC, which is a British band.
I remember that.
And he lives in the northern Massachusetts, and he's a working musician. He'll come and play. I mean, you pay him, but he'll come and play on your recording. And I sent him a few songs, and he had parts. I mean, it wasn't like he just showed up and just. I mean, he had parts for the songs. He had rehearsed them. Right. He had thought them through. Yeah. And so super nice guy. And so and hoping maybe he can come down and play on a couple more tracks. But I'm hoping to do with that project is eventually put it out as a actual record, like a vinyl record. Yeah. With like you put the needle all done analog, like they would have done it back in 1978 or something like that. Yeah. So that's one project. I'm also working on a hip hop project as well. Okay. And so I like to make beats. Yeah. And then write rhymes for the beats. Okay. So I just have to find a venue for that.
Well, that could be a venue coming up because we still for a long time had in the pipeline our second version. It's like a second season that we had Maine Karaoke Idol, and we wanted to still have Maine Rap Idol, where we have a lot of people doing their own hip hop stuff. Yeah. And then also doing classic hip hop songs as well with their own ways.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's definitely. You'd be surprised how many people are like closet hip hop, rappers, and they do it at karaoke or things like that. Yeah. And but yeah, that would be great. Could we get you back for that if we do that? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
So check out Jason at Jason Lambert, also at the Sun So Far on Facebook. Yeah, that's a good way to get. And on iTunes, or if you want to grab a physical copy of this.
Bull Moose, Strange Maine.
Strange Maine, yeah.
Lucky to have both of those places.
Yeah, they're very good about doing.
They really are.
Local, participation.
No questions asked. Yeah, they're so good about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jason.
Thank you,
appreciate
Luigi.
it. Well, we'll be right back, folks, right after this. Thanks.